Rich Rodriguez plans to build the West Virginia Mountaineer football program primarily with high school recruits going forward. For whatever reason, some West Virginia fans seem to have a problem with that, which I think is crazy. So we're going to talk about that in this episode of Couz's Corner. We're also going to talk about the possibility of softball returning to West Virginia. Is it feasible? Will it ever be feasible? We're going to talk about that as well. And also the announcement that we now know when the Coal Rush game will be for the Mountaineers. We'll cover all of that in this episode of Couz's Corner, and we'll start that conversation, or those conversations rather, right now. What is up, and welcome into this episode of Couz's Corner, your home for top shelf college sports news and analysis surrounding the West Virginia Mountaineers and the Big 12. Here on Couz's Corner, I give you objective analysis from a fan's perspective. That's what we do here on the channel. Let's go ahead and dive right into the first topic of the show. West Virginia. Should the football program be built with high school players or transfer portal players? That's the question. And here's what really got the conversation started. A couple of days ago, the folks over at WVSports.com, the West Virginia arm of Rivals, and On3, that covers West Virginia for Rivals and On3 rather, put out this tweet that I'm going to share on the screen with you here in just a second. It says the following. Rich Rodriguez is shifting WVU's roster strategy, focusing on developing high school talent and using the portal only to fill needs. Sounds pretty logical. And here's the quote from Rodriguez they used in the post. If you're really going to be managing it the right way, most of your roster is going to get built with high school guys, supplemented by transfers. That's the goal, end quote. Now, some of the comments underneath this are baffling to me. He doesn't know WTF he is doing is one comment. I don't think this is possible in the new world. When said high school guys start making an impact, they'll transfer to a bigger program for more money. This is all nonsense. Portal players, recruits, it doesn't matter, have to find the right guys every year in this era with our budget. Well, I agree RR has no clue what he's doing. At the same time, who do people think we are? His strategy needs to be to win. So next year we're going to suck again. Never work. Any quality players you develop will leave for more money. That's not going to work. Wren Baker, please help us. Unfortunately, that isn't how modern P4 football works anymore. He better catch up. That doesn't work. We'll be breeding ground for bigger programs with bigger money. It already happened to us. Listen, that is the way, if you look at the numbers, and shout out to Josh Wolf, who posted this on X and reshared this post. It says, to all the people complaining, you do realize this is how most top 25 teams operate, right? WVU isn't going to be Clemson, but adding 30-plus transfers yearly is a recipe for failure. 2 teams in the top 25 took 30-plus transfers. 12 teams in the top 25 took less than 20 transfers. That's almost half of the top 25 took less than 20 transfers. Thanks to Josh for putting that out, because he put out something. I was thinking about that as well, like how many teams in the top 25. Josh answered that question. I decided to dig a little bit deeper into the numbers, and I've got those to share with you right now. First, let's look at the number of teams with 30 transfers or more, okay? 30 or more. West Virginia has 51. They are now 2-4 on the year. Purdue has 52. They are 2-4 on the year. Wake Forest has 34 transfers. They're sitting at 3-2 on the year. Colorado with 34 or 33 transfers are 3-4 on the year. UNC has 39. They're 2-3. UCF has 39. They're 3-3. Arkansas has 31. They're 2-4 and just fired their coach. We see the turmoil that UNC's in right now. Purdue's in year one of a coach, just like West Virginia, same as UCF. Oklahoma State, 38 transfers. They're sitting at 1-5. UCLA just fired their coach a couple weeks ago. They have 30 transfers, sitting at 2-4. Virginia Tech, who fired their coach, 2-5 with 30 transfers. Now, there are a few exceptions. You've got Louisville with 30 transfers at 4-1. Mississippi State with 31 transfers at 4-2. UVA with 31 transfers at 5-1 and ranked 18th in the country. Now, that is one of the top 25 teams that Josh was talking about. But here are some reasons why these teams are succeeding. Number one, most of them have at least good, if not at least above average quarterback play. In the case of UVA, Louisville, and Mississippi State, that's true. They all have at least above average quarterback play. They also have more continuity on their coaching staffs and had more players likely returning from last year's team. Probably less freshmen coming in, less new players overall. So you've got to look at the other aspects. May not have as many injuries as what West Virginia's had to deal with. But still, even 30 transfers and 31 transfers is a lot better than 51. Huge difference between 31 and 51 transfers. And even over 30 transfers, teams usually don't do that well. So Josh is right here. Now let's go ahead and look a little bit closer to what West Virginia, and let's go to the Big 12 specifically. I went down the rankings of the Big 12 as it sits today. BYU, 14 transfers. Texas Tech, 22 transfers, but we know they went out and got themselves some dogs, some five-star players. Cincinnati has 18 transfers. Houston, 28 transfers. Utah, 22 transfers. Arizona State, 17. Baylor, 24. Iowa State, 8. Kansas, 27. K-State, 15. Arizona, 27. TCU, 12. Colorado, 33. UCF, 39. West Virginia, 51. Oklahoma State, 38. The four teams at the bottom of the league are the ones with the most transfers. I don't think that's coincidence. And two of those do happen to have new coaches as well. Houston, a lot of you are going to say, but Couz, Houston has 28 transfers and they're 5-1. But look at their schedule. It's nowhere near as competitive as as tough as a lot of these other teams I've mentioned. Arizona with 27 transfers. Yes, they're doing well, but again, look at their schedule and also look who they got at quarterback. Noah Fafita. West Virginia didn't bring back their starting quarterback from last year. Who your quarterback is matters in college football. It matters in all of football, but especially at the Power 4 level at college and the NFL. Your quarterback matters. Utah with 22 transfers sounds like a lot. But look, they returned a lot of players at core positions, and 22 still nowhere close to 51. And even 22 to me is not a huge number. To me, the sweet spot is anywhere from 15 to about 25 transfers. If you build your team in your main roster, your core of your roster are guys who you have recruited through the high school ranks and have been with your program 2, 3, 4 years, and then you add in 15 to 25 transfers a year, quality transfers where you hit on most of those guys. To me, that is how you build a successful program. Obviously, how well you coach them and how good your quarterback and trench play is also matters. But that is the recipe for most successful teams. Josh Wolf pointed out, many others have pointed out. I saw Sean Manning with a post on X as well. Shout out to him. But here are the numbers. Most of your better teams in the Big 12 don't have 30-plus transfers. I'm going to read the top four again. BYU 14, Texas Tech 22, Cincinnati 18, Houston 28. They're an exception. They've played an easy schedule thus far. Utah 22. Those are your top 5 teams in the Big 12 right now. None of them have over 30. Even Houston has 28. So I don't understand the people who are mad about that's how you build a program. He's not saying he's going to be Dabo Swinney and not use the portal at all. What he's saying is we're only going to use it to fill spots, to build depth, and hey, if there's a guy out there that's an elite player that we think can help us, we're going to go try to get him. But for the most part, he wants the core group of guys to be folks who are returning from last year's team. And for those who are saying we're just going to be a feeder team, maybe so. But I'm not sure how you change that. Rebuilding in the portal every year is not the winning strategy. What West Virginia needs to do is do a better job of retaining players than they have done in previous years. And that's up to Rich Rod and his staff to do that. It's also up to the university. who's been making a lot of these strides in trying to bring in more revenue and things like that. All of that goes into the strategy of retaining your talent on the team. All the players you want to retain that you think can help you, you've got to be able to. Now, West Virginia has committed to being all in on revenue sharing. That's a big piece of it. They've now added 16 more scholarships for football. That's a piece of it. Now they have to focus on getting that above cap NIL money for their players. Focus on that. That's a huge piece of it. And that's now where they're turning their attention to. So if they can retain more of the talent than they have under the previous coaching staff, I think this is a strategy that will succeed, especially if they get the quarterback right and the line right, the offensive and defensive line right. If they get those three positions right, most years, West Virginia is going to win a lot of football games using this strategy. So let me know in the comment section, though, what you think, and then we'll move on to our next section, which is going to be about softball potentially being a sport at West Virginia. And we'll talk about that in the next segment. But first, I want to give a shout out to our channel sponsor, the fine folks over at DraftKings Sportsbook.
Your season, your shot. The NFL season is rolling, and every touchdown can bring you closer to a payout with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. From first touchdown scorer to anytime TD props or the thrill of live in-game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. New customers, this one is for you. Bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, score over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code COUZ. That's code COUZ to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first $5 bet. Plus, over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Fees may apply in Illinois, void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday Ticket offer for new subscribers only and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday Ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday Ticket/terms. Limited time offer.
Thank you for being patient, letting me get through the housekeeping. And thank you for the fine folks over at DraftKings for supporting the show. Now, the next segment, I want to talk about softball. Should West Virginia add softball, and will they add softball? Now, ironically, before I recorded this video, I did an interview with a West Virginia state legislator, and we talked about several different things, but softball was brought up in that conversation. Now, that video is going to be out after this one, but it's kind of changed that interview changed how I'm going to approach this topic. Will WVU add softball like right now in the immediate future? No. And here's why. West Virginia right now is doing everything they can, scraping every dime, looking under every couch cushion, trying to find enough money to compete in today's world, in today's landscape, especially with the over-the-cap NIL stuff. Okay? We obviously know about the rev sharing. I talked about that in the last segment. West Virginia is committed to being all in on rev share. They've now added a lot of scholarships to Olympic sports and even to football. All of that. All part of being competitive. Well, when they added those scholarships, they added 140 scholarships. A lot of fans assumed, hey, that means maybe they'll add softball now. But I'm saying pump the brakes on that. They've got to focus on staying competitive in the sports they have right now before they can go add new sports. And I'm going to go back to a quote that I heard from Wren Baker back last spring when I attended the Coach's Caravan at Glade Springs Resort in Daniels, West Virginia. And Wren was up, speaking to the crowd there. And here's what he had to say about softball. He says, and I quote, "There's a difference when people come up to him and say, hey, you should add softball. You can make money at softball." Here's his quote. "There's a difference between making money and being profitable. And I know we would not be profitable because nobody in the country is," end quote. So if West Virginia, if the larger schools who are softball powerhouses like Texas Tech and others are not profitable in softball. And he didn't mention specific schools. Maybe this was maybe he used the word nobody as a general term. Maybe it's not technically nobody. I don't know. But long story short, how is a school like West Virginia, who has just added softball, going to make a profit? I doubt they are. It takes millions of dollars to add a new sport. Skylar Callahan over at West Virginia on SI did a show talking about this the other day as well. Go check that out. West Virginia cannot afford to add softball, at least not right now. But here's the kicker. There are some things going on behind the scenes at the state legislature level and at the WVU level. I think if it all works out, that might enable West Virginia to add softball in the future. That's right. West Virginia could potentially add softball in the future, but a lot of things have to fall into place first. Some bills have to get passed first at the state level, and those bills, you will probably hear more about those come the next legislative session, and also it will be part of the conversation I had with a state senator on my upcoming show. Okay? Did not plan on plugging that show, but it ties into this because I was already wanting to talk about this because it's been all over social media, and I want to give my thoughts. So my bottom line is I do not think West Virginia is going to add softball in the immediate future, but I do think it's possible down the road if they get some things ironed out that you'll hear more about in my next show. Comment below what your thoughts are on adding softball. Would you like to see West Virginia add softball, and do you think it makes sense to do so? Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the announcement about West Virginia's upcoming Coal Rush game. That's right, the Coal Rush game. But before we do that, I do have another sponsor I want to give a shout out to. I'll be right back.
Hey, do me a favor. Go check out my good friends over at Appalachia Digital. If you need a brand new website for your small business, or if you're just looking to get found easier on Google, go check out AppalachiaDigital.com/Couz. These are the fine folks who designed my brand new website over at WVSportsChat.com. They did a fantastic job. I love their work. I think you will too. So go check them out. AppalachiaDigital.com/Couz. Let them know Couz sent you. Also,
that's right, baby. The Coal Rush game has been announced by the West Virginia football Twitter account. I'm going to share that with you right now. It says, West Virginia game time, Coal Rush, October 25th versus TCU, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, ESPN+. That's right, baby. The Coal Rush game that all of us fans look forward to and we were all wondering, hey, when are we going to do a Coal Rush? Is it going to have to be in the middle of the day? Not happening. We are getting a night game in Morgantown on the 25th, the next home game. I'm recording this on Monday, October 13th. Had to look and see what the date was. I never can remember the date. The next home game, because their game this coming Saturday is in Orlando. Their next home game in Morgantown, the 25th, is a Coal Rush. Wear your black, baby. Be ready. Now, let's hope this Coal Rush goes a lot better than last year's Coal Rush game where they got absolutely demolished. I think it was Iowa State they played in that game. Hopefully this one goes better. It's starting a little bit earlier. I think that game last year started around 7 or 7:30. This one will start at 6. So it'll get you home a little bit earlier, but you still have all day to tailgate and enjoy the festivities of Morgantown and the hospital parking lot. So the Coal Rush game, again, will be October 25th against TCU, and let's hope it goes much better than the last one. Leave me your thoughts about that, as well as leave me your thoughts about the first two topics I touched on in the show. Adding softball at West Virginia, and then also, do you like the strategy of building the program with high school players, or do you think they should focus more on the portal? Should they bring in a larger percentage of their players? Should they bring in 40, 50 transfers a year, 30 transfers a year, or do you think they're better off bringing in around 20-ish a year just to build depth and fill holes where you need them? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments section. Also want to remind you that I have paid VIP members here on the channel. If you want to be part of that club, you may see a join button below on your device, or at least you'll have a join button over on my homepage at my profile photo. But right now, the random shout-outs, which is part of one of the perks, The random shout-outs of this episode are Houston Cougars Germany, TS, Denny Allen, Shaggy of WV, and Daniel Gigax. Thank you all for your paid membership. Again, you can be one of those members. The $4.99 level gets you early access to some videos, which will include my interview with the state senator. I will be releasing that one early for my club level members. And then the VIP level gets you that in addition to the random shout-outs and the pub level, the $2.99 level. You will not get the early access, but you will get the random shout-outs, and you will get first priority in chats during my live streams. And I know I don't do a ton of those, but when I do, if you're a paid member, your comments will be read before anyone else's. So if you want to become a part of that club, it's a very easy way and inexpensive way to support me if you can afford it. If you want to support me for free, there's a lot of ways you can do that. You can hit the thumbs up button on this video. You can hit the hype button on this video if you're watching on a mobile device, between the thanks button and the download button. You can subscribe. I'm inching closer and closer to 10,000. You can get me there by either subscribing yourself or sharing it with family and friends who may do the same. And last but not least, make sure you turn on your notifications on your phone and on YouTube to be notified of future shows. I really appreciate you tuning into this video. I hope you do not just hear my stomach growl. I really appreciate you tuning into this video. I hope the rest of or if you're watching on audio, thank you as well. I want to thank you for your support. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope the rest of your day's top shelf. God bless you. And cue Country Roads.